In this video, I'm going to go over my techniques when it comes to packing gear for these international hunts, or really any hunt that's far away from home.
We found the land of the giants.
Very important that your gear selection and your packing is absolutely dialed. There's no room for error when you're going on these far away from home hunts. The last thing you're going to have access to for most things, if you're traveling into the Alaskan bush, or maybe you're going to Tajikistan or maybe Africa, what you have with you is what you got. And if something breaks, you cut your bowstring, maybe you drop your rifle and bust your scope. That's it. You don't have any other options. So the attention to detail when it comes to packing for these adventure hunting trips has to be absolutely heightened. So I'm going to go over some of my techniques, what I do to protect my bowstring, and kind of my mentality when it comes to packing for these international or just adventure hunts. Okay, I just wanted to go over a few things packing for New Zealand. Being that it's international and there's really no place over there where I can get some of the specifics that I need, it's so important to go through your gear and make the most of the space that you have. First off, I want to talk about footwear, and that is these Zamberlan boots. I always bring 2 pairs of boots. These are waxed and ready to go, and I also clean the bottom. New Zealand's very specific on what they allow inside their country. You can't bring in dirty camping equipment, muddy sleeping bags, muddy tents, muddy boots. Anything that has soil on it, they're gonna go clean it, and it's gonna delay you quite a bit. So you wanna show up with clean equipment, or preferably new equipment. The first time I went there, I took a new tent, new everything, new boots. That was a backcountry expedition. This is more of a front country hunt. I'll be staying in a hut, so I don't need a tent. I don't need a sleeping pad. I don't need a stove. There's all those things there. So a little less detail that I have to pay attention to this year because I just don't have the extent of gear. But 2 pairs of boots. It's the North Island. It can be very wet. So you want to have an extra pair of boots that you can wear while your other pair is dried out, and make sure you have good grease. One thing I have a couple pairs of socks in a sandwich bag. You want to make the most of every square inch of space that you have. So I put a couple pairs of socks in a boot there, and that'll go right into the bag. As far as food and meals go, like this beef stroganoff, it's a meat product, and New Zealand's very specific on what kind of meat they allow in the country, and so this is like commercially packaged, so it's not a problem, but I have to leave it in their original packaging. So ideally, on these freeze-dried meals, I would take them out of these pouches and put them in like a quart Ziploc bag, and really cut down on space and bulk that this original packaging provides. And so that's kind of a downside. I can't really put these into more ideal packaging, but I don't know, it's not the end of the world. It just takes up a little bit more space. Now all my camo and my Cryptek, I've folded and rolled it up and then bundled it up. So this is a raincoat, and this is saran wrapped, and I have all my stuff in here the same. More clothes, specific pieces, usually just a pair of pants or a rain jacket. Here's a heavy pant. I can't remember what this one is. But yeah, I just roll them all up, and then I stack them inside this duffel like cordwood, just to save on space, being really efficient with our space. And these clothes, even folded, you can fold them and put them in there is good. But I like to really pack them and compress them, and it seems to save on space a little bit. Sleeping bags, a couple sleeping bags. This is just like a 40-degree rated bag, and so is this one for Eva. So couple small bags there. And then all the camera equipment, all the necessities, some game bags, some jerky, got some jerky in here, my knives and my headlamps and my batteries, all that stuff, all just put in like a bag, a couple different bags of just miscellaneous stuff, some tape, extra rangefinder batteries, a SIG handheld rangefinder. This bag's overflowing a little bit, but it serves its purpose. I got the headlamps. I'll take this one out. I don't need this one. Ooh, the stay afield system, the Matthews stay afield system, if I have to change strings or put a peep in or do any serving, I have that. I've got electrical tape, I've got string wax, I've got knife sharpener, I've got an extra release, I've got scent-free deodorant, I've got all my Evolution hides. I have them all packed in this one box. I have, I think, like at least a dozen and a half in here. I don't really want to open them, but they're the Evolution hide. It's all packed in there. And then I have like knives. That's another thing. I have 4 brand new knives. You don't want to bring bloody knives there. That'll freak them out. Ooh, another thing, and this is kind of sad. Ooh, the Matthews bow isn't sad. We'll get to that in a second. But I was going to bring my Savage Ultralight 280 Ackley, and this rifle is what Eva has used the last 3 years to shoot all her big game animals, and she loves this rifle. And so I got on the government website a couple weeks ago and saw that the process to get a rifle into New Zealand as a non-resident is very extensive. It takes 4 months to do all the processing. You take tests, they do background checks, of course, and then you have to get like letters of recommendation that you're not a psychotic killer. So there's a lot of steps that you have to take. So unfortunately, I mean, I didn't even know I was going to New Zealand 4 months ago. So you got to really plan ahead if you're going to take a rifle. So we're going to take our bows. We have to leave the Savage at home. It's kind of frustrating, obviously, but worst case, if Eva does want to shoot a red deer with a rifle, she can use one of theirs over there. We have, friends over there that have rifles, and we can go out with them, and she can shoot a red stag with one of their rifles. They don't have Savages, but that's just the way it is. So here is the V3X, and this is a 2-year-old bow. I'm not shooting the lift on this hunt, just because I'm going to leave this with one of the kids there when I go hunting. It's my old bow. I don't really need it anymore. I'm hunting with the lift now, and my Phase 4 is my backup bow. And so it's kind of hard for, guys over there to get archery equipment. And I mean, you can get it, but it's very, very expensive. And so that's why I'm shooting this V3X. It's my older bow. I love this bow. I killed so many animals and had so many great hunts with this bow. I just shot it really, really well. It seemed like anything I shot at, I just hit it so perfectly. And so I really like this bow, but so is Josh. Josh is really going to enjoy this bow too, I think. I have a couple mods, draw length modules. He's a little bit shorter draw length than I am, so I'll swap out the mods and then give him this bow. So I'm excited to do that. I'm excited to hunt with this bow because it is a special bow to me. And yeah, I'll pass it on to him, and he can hunt over there. So that's another bright side of the situation, is I don't have to haul a bow home. And bows aren't really regulated in New Zealand. They're not considered like a dangerous weapon, so you don't need any special paperwork or anything like that to get a bow into New Zealand. And so that's why I do like being a bow hunter, is logistically, it's just easier to travel internationally, because usually these countries don't have any restrictions on traveling with bows and arrows. Now, the one thing, we got a GoPro chest harness that'll go in there, and I'm going to bring this Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls tube for red deer. You get the idea. I'll be calling some red deer with that. But, so bow cases, extremely important too, on making the most of what you have to work with for packaging all your equipment in. So I stack my arrows in there carefully, and I have some miscellaneous clothes that I will pack in kind of around the bow, and I'll show you that when I'm done. But I'll take the stabilizers off, I'll take the side off, I'll take the quiver off, I'll get it as streamlined as possible, some nice padding in here. I'll put these covers, ooh, here they are. So I'll put like this bow cover on it during transit too, just to protect everything. You just never know what the airlines are gonna do, so I just wanna make it harder for them to dig in here and screw with my string. And so on both bows, I'll put these on in the case during transit. You just never know what could damage your string. You're flying so far away from home, you can't really afford to have any critical errors. So just try to do everything I can to prevent anything drastic from happening, like cutting a string. Ugh, that scares me. But I made sure all my serving's good, and string loop is new. I do bring extra serving and string loop material, so it's not the end of the world, but it is what it is. So I'll unscrew my stab, I'll take my side off. I always bring an extra release, lots of arrows, bring string wax. I'll kind of show you here all the stuff that I have kind of thrown out everywhere, but we'll get it all packed up and we'll have it bundled up nice and tight, and we'll make the most out of all our space. So that's very important. Hopefully both bags make it. Ooh, that's another thing. What I like doing too is I like kind of divvying my clothes out between each box and bag. So if one of the bags doesn't make it, I'm not completely stranded without, without any hunting clothes, or without a pair of boots, or without a knife. I'll put maybe one or two in each and just spread my types of gear out a little bit, so I'm not completely boned. If the airlines lose one of these bags, I can still kind of hunt. Ideally, they lose my duffel bag. I would rather sleep without a sleeping bag than be without my bow. At least I can still hunt and buy a sleeping bag easier. I can't just go over there and buy another bow and set it up and be ready to go. It's a lot more difficult than just buying some clothes or some boots or some meals. So that's the last thing I like to do. But yeah, let's get it packed up, and we'll see you in New Zealand. That's a good one.